Hello, welcome to another quiz. Yeah, I haven't advertised this one very much, so um, yes, we might be fewer in number this week, but thank you for joining me if you have. Also, someone left a comment last week on the video. Sorry, I haven't got around to replying to that. It was a crazy week. I will reply as soon as we're done. I've only just remembered. In the meantime, oh, and there are also, again, still a backlog of answers. This isn't going well. I may take next week off, since this is quiz number 10, which is amazing, to have got that far. So I may take next week as an opportunity to just take a break before we come on to quiz number 11 and sort out some of the admin, like putting the answers up. Anyway, first thing to do this week is to announce the winner of last week. I'll give a shout out to Getting Older, who got 16 out of 40. But the winners with 31 out of 40 were the cartographers. Well done to them. Right, let's get started then with round one. As ever, 10 questions, miscellaneous, to get us going. So let's start with question one. Should have put my cup down before changing the image there. What belonged to Nelson in London, Keppel in Wentworth in South Yorkshire, and the Marquess of Anglesey and Llanfair PG in North Wales? What belonged to Nelson in London, Keppel in Wentworth in South Yorkshire, and the Marquess of Anglesey and Llanfair PG in North Wales? Llanfair PG is the place with a very long name that I'm not going to attempt to say on YouTube, because there will be angry Welsh people, because I will say it wrong. Question number 2. Which street in Seattle, home to a famous market, gives its name to one of Starbucks Coffee's house blends? Which street in Seattle, home to a famous market, gives its name to one of Starbucks Coffee's house blends? I'm just going to shift my chair slightly to the right now. It's probably better. Starbucks was in fact founded near the street in Seattle, and its sort of original branch moved to the street within. Of course, it was no longer the original branch, but I think they still consider it as that. Question 3. At Disneyland, what type of music is performed by the Dapper Dans? It consists of close four-part male harmony. At Disneyland, what type of music is performed by the Dapper Dans? It consists of close four-part male harmony. Question 4. Which BBC TV show stars Martin Compston as Detective Sergeant Steve Arnott? Which BBC TV show stars Martin Compston as Detective Sergeant Steve Arnott? The hair is getting very long now. I suppose we know that it's at least 9 weeks since, given that this is quiz 10, since I last had one. Possibly close to 3 months now. Question 5. Which boxed game in which players have to name items from sets that no other player thought so? Name items from sets that no other player thought of, so it's the items that other players haven't thought of, comes with a 20-sided die marked with letters of the alphabet. Which boxed game in which players have to name items that no other player thought of from sets comes with a 20-sided die marked with letters of the alphabet. So that question is not very well worded. What I mean here is, in the game you have sets. You're told to name things from the set, beginning with the letter of the alphabet on the die, and you have to come up with something from the set, beginning with that letter that no one else thought of. Which game is that? You all had a good weekend. Mine was uneventful, as indeed most weekends are at the moment. Yeah. Watch High School Musical 3. That was an experience. Question 6. What was the nickname of Corporal Walter Eugene O'Reilly in the TV series MASH? What was the nickname of Corporal Walter Eugene O'Reilly in the TV series MASH? It was also the nickname for the approximate character in the film and in the original book. But Walter Eugene O'Reilly is not quite the name of the character. Yes, I had seen High School Musicals 1 and 2, but not 3. Yeah. It was perplexing. It was a perplexing film. It also has no relevance to this quiz, but I dislike the silence while I'm giving you a chance to answer the next question. But anyway, question 7. What common name is given to deposits within the eye's vitreous humour, the gel between the retina and the lens of the eye? What common name is given to deposits within the eye's vitreous humour, the gel between the retina and lens of the eye? Yes, I'm noticing them now, which is... That's going to persist for the rest of the quiz, isn't it? As soon as someone points them out. I hope it does for you too. Question 8. What traditional part of a full English breakfast is made from a fried mixture of potatoes and cabbage? Which traditional part of a full English breakfast is made from a fried mixture of potatoes and cabbage? Delicious. I don't think I've ever had a full English breakfast that included this, actually. I think it's increasingly rare. It's not the sort of thing you get in the Premier breakfast at Premier Inn, put it that way. Not that I've had one of those for a long time either. Anyway, question 9. Dettifoss is the largest example of what in Iceland? Dettifoss is the largest example of what in Iceland? That would be Iceland the country, not Iceland the supermarket. As far as I know, the supermarket doesn't have any Dettifosses, but again, haven't been to one of those in a while either, so... And question 10, the last question for this round. Which dog food brand used to sell a product called Chum? Which dog food brand used to sell a product called Chum? The product was a kind of dog food, to be clear. Yeah, I don't think they use this name anymore. I think they've just rebranded this line under their overall brand. Anyway. As ever, feel free to talk to me in the chat over there. I do try and pick up on things that people say. Just say hello. Just say goodbye if you like. It's fine. I'm not offended if you don't. I promise. I won't feel lonely or sad or you know, left out. I won't. I promise. Anyway, round 2. So, round 2, I'm going to ask you about some, well, I'm not going to ask you about some films, I'm going to ask you for some film titles. So, all of these are the titles of films, and all of them won a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture. Now, there are two different kinds of that. There's musical or comedy, and there's drama. All of them won one of those two awards. So there are 20 possibilities here, because they're also all from the 2010s. So they won those awards in the award ceremonies in 2011 through to this year. Right, so there are, if you know all 20 of those films, that will make this round a lot easier, but if you don't, hopefully you'll recognise the films anyway. So, these are spelled out using chemical elements. So every chemical element on the periodic table has a symbol, 1 or 2 letters. I've given you some elements, and if you write their symbols down, you'll get the name of a film. So all I want you to tell me for a point in each question is which film. So let's start with question 1. Boron, oxygen, yttrium, holmium, oxygen, deuterium. Boron, oxygen, yttrium, holmium, oxygen, deuterium. Which film do those spell out? Suddenly questioning whether it was correct that they all won the Golden Globe. I think they might have all been nominated for it. So apologies. Yeah, I think possibly they all were nominated for it. I think this one did win. But I've realised a lot of films you just can't spell out with elements. And I realised that if I just restricted to the winners, I wouldn't have got enough questions. So yeah, all of them were nominated for a Golden Globe. Question 2. Deuterium, uranium, nitrogen, potassium, iridium, potassium. So that's deuterium, uranium, nitrogen, potassium, iridium, potassium. Just checking this point about wins and nominations. Yes, so this one was only nominated. So yes, they were all nominated for Best Motion Picture, which does widen the field of possible films. Okay, question 3. Lanthanum, 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 neodymium. So that's lanthanum, 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 neodymium. All of these are nominated for Best Picture in either the musical and comedy or in the drama category at the Golden Globes. Question 4. Lanthanum, dysprosium, boron, iridium, deuterium. Lanthanum, dysprosium, boron, iridium, deuterium. Of course, if you're paying attention to some of these, you can maybe, and you don't know the symbols, you can cross-reference them. Just a tip there. Might help, might not. Right, yes, okay. A chemist that I has commented has issues with me calling deuterium an element. Yes, sorry. I Yes. It would have been impossible, I think, to find 10 films in that category where this worked if I hadn't called deuterium an element. And if I'm honest, I forgot that deuterium wasn't an element. I am not a chemist. Deuterium does, however, have a standard chemical symbol. So, question 5. Hydrogen, erbium. Hydrogen, erbium. Yes, for those who aren't unsure, deuterium is a... yes, I know this. I know this, right? Deuterium. What's deuterium? It's an isotope of something. Right, yes. It's an isotope of hydrogen. So deuterium is hydrogen, but where a normal hydrogen atom has one proton and no neutrons, and deuterium atom would have one proton and one neutron. Sometimes called heavy hydrogen. If you've heard of heavy water, heavy water is formed by, instead of H2O, it's D2O, it's two deuteriums and an oxygen. I've just given away what deuterium's letter is. That's fair, given that it's not an element. Anyway, question 6. With that long chemistry-based-ish digression, let's go back to films. So, which film is represented by boron, lanthanum, carbon, potassium, protactinium, nitrogen, thorium, erbium? So which film is represented by boron, lanthanum, carbon, potassium, protactinium, nitrogen, thorium, erbium? All of those are, I think, elements. No controversial ones in there. Question 7. Ruthenium, sulfur, hydrogen. Ruthenium, sulfur, hydrogen. If anyone has any issues with the spelling of sulfur there, I've used standard IUPAC nomenclature for these spellings, in particular for these elements, IUPAC being the International Union of Physical and Applied Chemistry. Let's go with that. Yeah, which had to deal with a compromise on the English names of these elements because of spellings differences between American and British. So it's aluminium, not aluminum, but it's sulfur with an F. I think there's another one, there's a compromise been made, I've forgotten which one. But anyway, yes. Question 8. There's aluminium again. So aluminium, iodine, cerium, let's go with cerium, indium, tungsten, oxygen, neodymium, erbium, lanthanum, neodymium. So aluminium, iodine, cerium, indium, tungsten, oxygen, neodymium, erbium, lanthanum, neodymium. It's got a long film title there. Can you work out which film it is? Question 9. Indium, cerium, platinum, iodine, oxygen, nitrogen. Indium, cerium, platinum, iodine, oxygen, nitrogen. Which film, nominated for the Golden Globe, can be spelt out using the symbols of those elements? Got one more after this if you dislike chemistry. Which is question 10. It's another one, I'm afraid, where we've got our old friend Deuterium back. So, rhenium, deuterium. Rhenium, deuterium. And that's it. So, I'll give you a second to work those last few out before we move on. Before we go on to round 3, which is on anagram states. So, in this round, I'm going to give you some phrases. Each phrase is an anagram of a state of Mexico, a state of the US, or a province of Canada. For pedants, Canada does also have territories as well as provinces. I'm not counting those. It's only the provinces of Canada that could possibly come up as answers. So, each of them is an anagram of one of those. I just want you to tell me which one it is. So, question 1, in navy planes. In navy planes. That's planes, Planes. Which state or province is this? If you're wondering, the distinction between a province and the territory of Canada is that provinces are rather like states and are considered to have sovereign authority, separate from the Confederation, and territories derive their authority from the federal government. Question 2, hating snow. Hating snow. Which state or territory is an anagram of hating snow? On to question 3. Seen teens. Seen teens. That's seen as in I have seen. Past tense, past participle of saw. No, hang on. Of see. Of see. Oh dear. Yes. They're not on the scene. Maybe they are as well, but that's not relevant to the anagram. Question 4. Adel rhinos. Adel rhinos. Which state or province is that an anagram of? I can't actually remember myself. No. Question 5. Lord a bar and now add funnel. Lord a bar and now add funnel. Which state or province is that an anagram of? Question 6. No oars. No oars. Question 7. I boatman. I boatman. So remember, states of Mexico, states of the US, or provinces of Canada could be answers in this round. I boatman. Question 8. Jail African boa. Jail African boa. Excuse me. I should have chosen coffee as my drink, but I chose water. Not even coached, not even caffeinated. Question 9. I'm a historic bulb. I'm a historic bulb. And finally, I'll give you a sec, but okay. Finally, question 10. Stats sums ache. Stats sums ache. Which province or state is that an anagram of? And that is round 3, which means we're coming very soon, once this question's been up for sufficiently long, onto our theme round. So normally my theme round is based on something topical. This week I've reused these questions from a quiz I didn't end up giving. So the theme is not topical. The theme is just Cambridge. I could think of something, but probably if I wanted to, about Cambridge that was some anniversary or whatever. But no, I didn't bother. So yeah, it's just a Cambridge round. So it's not just going to be about Cambridge the university or Cambridge the city in. So if undifferentiated, I should say Cambridge refers to Cambridge in Cambridgeshire in England. But otherwise, there could be questions about all sorts of other Cambridges. So let's start. Question 1. Which building in Cambridge, UK, is conventionally taken as its centre, analogously to Carfax in Oxford? Which building in Cambridge, UK, is conventionally taken as its centre, analogously to Carfax in Oxford? So, for those who may not know Oxford, Carfax is a crossroads at the centre of the city. Carfax is a corruption of the French Carrefour, meaning crossroads, and it's conventionally taken for all sorts of university statutes as the centre point. So undergraduates have to live within a certain number of miles of Carfax. And there's a building in Cambridge that serves the same purpose. So which building is that? Question 2. In which century was the University of Cambridge founded? In which century was the University of Cambridge founded? It's actually founded after rioting in Oxford. Some scholars fled and set up a new university on the Fens. How wants to go that way? I will let it go that way. Okay, question 3. Apart from the University of Cambridge, which other university has its main campus in Cambridge? Apart from the University of Cambridge, which other university has its main campus in Cambridge? Descends from the Cambridge School of Art, I think. Question 4. The region of high-tech businesses around Cambridge, named analogously to Silicon Valley, is called Silicon what? The region of high-tech businesses around Cambridge, named analogously to Silicon Valley, is called Silicon what? Silicon Valley, of course, is in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. It is much more important than the Silicon blank that is around Cambridge. Question 5. Which Ivy League university can be found in Cambridge, Massachusetts? Which Ivy League university can be found in Cambridge, Massachusetts? Actually, several universities in this one town/suburb of Boston. Probably it's a city in American nomenclature. But yeah, there are several universities, 2 really big ones, but only one in the Ivy League. So which one is that? Question 6. 2531 Cambridge, an asteroid, is how large in diameter to the nearest 10 kilometres? 2531 Cambridge, an asteroid, is how large in diameter to the nearest 10 kilometres? So I do want a multiple of 10 for this answer. If you give me 15, say, and want to claim 10 and 20 by that, then I will not accept. I just want a number ending in a 0. Question 7. What are the forenames of the 3 children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge? So I want all 3 names for 1 point. What are the forenames of the 3 children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge? And to clarify, I only want their first forenames. I don't want all of their middle names as well. If anyone is watching this quiz in the far future and they happen to have had another child, what are the forenames of the first 3 children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge? Or the oldest 3 children. Question 8. As of the theatre closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a musical based on which Roald Dahl book was playing at the Cambridge Theatre in London? As of the theatre closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a musical based on which Roald Dahl book was playing at the Cambridge Theatre in London? And question 9. Also in London, Cambridge Circus is a road junction where Charing Cross Road crosses which other thoroughfare? Also in London, Cambridge Circus is a road junction where Charing Cross Road crosses which other thoroughfare? I can't speak. Yes, confusingly, there is a theatre at Cambridge Circus, but it is not the Cambridge Theatre. It's the Palace Theatre, I think. That's where you'll find, well, you won't find anything at the moment, but where you would normally find Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And finally, question 10. The University of Cambridge, again, back to the university. So the University of Cambridge has a studentship named after Abba Eban, I think it is, who was once Deputy Prime Minister of which country? The University of Cambridge has a studentship named after Abba Eban, who was once Deputy Prime Minister of which country? And that is it for quiz number 10. We've had 400 questions on this channel, which is weird to think about that I've written that many. But anyway, there you have it. So if you want to submit your answers, please do so by the end of tomorrow at www.alexquiz.fun/submit. If you've been typing your answers all the way through, in the spiel that I forgot to say at the beginning, if you copy and paste them into the form, that's going to be the quickest way. Remember to give a team name as well, which is what I will read out if I decide to give a shout out to your team, or more importantly, if your team wins. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this 10th quiz. As I say, I keep threatening that I'm going to take a break and then not doing, but I think next week I will. So I will be back with the video to announce this week's winners, but that will be it. And I'll probably resume the week after. I mean, calling these quarantine quizzes feels increasingly inaccurate, seeing that here in England shops have just reopened. Non-essential shops have just reopened for the first time in months. But I like the illustration, so I might keep it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, click subscribe and the little bell so you get notifications, and stay safe and well. And I'll see you next week, if for nothing else, but to announce the winners of this week's quiz. See you later.